What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I wanted to talk about NFL insider Albert Breer making a big prediction for Braelon Allen. So Albert Breer, who is Sports Illustrated senior NFL writer, referenced Braelon Allen as a major player in the New York Jets offense. Here's the quote. I mentioned Braelon Allen above. I think his role in the Jets offense alongside Hall could be pretty significant. Now, I totally understand why Albert Breer is making that assumption. You look at the Detroit Lions, and they used a two running back system the last 2 years. We'll take a look at the number of rushing attempts they had and so on and so forth. So the Lions were third in rushing attempts in 2024 and seventh in 2023. I would imagine the Jets are pretty close to top five in rushing attempts, considering, they have Breece Hall, they have Braelon Allen, they have Justin Fields. So how much of a role can that second running back have? Again, look no further than Detroit with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. So in 2023, Montgomery carried the ball 219 times for 1,015 yards and 13 touchdowns. Gibbs 182 for 945 yards and 10 touchdowns. Overall, the Detroit Lions had 500 rushing attempts. So Montgomery came in at 43.8% and Jahmyr Gibbs was sitting at 36.4%. Similar kind of numbers, although the roles flipped in 2024. Gibbs ran the ball 250 times, 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns. Montgomery, 185 yards, 185 carries, 775 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Overall, 534 carries. The carries go up. Gibbs gets 46.8%, Montgomery 34.6%. What makes this a little bit harder to project for the New York Jets is Justin Fields is going to be a rusher too, and Jared Goff and Justin Fields could not be any more polar opposite. Jared Goff is a prototypical pocket passer. He's not going to run nearly as much as what Justin Fields likely is, although the New York Jets have kind of said that they want Justin Fields to play more quarterback and not be as much of a rusher. But if we're pacing Fields, Breece, and Braelon Allen out for 17 games and assuming all three of those guys are going to play a full 17 games, I kind of came up with a projection. It doesn't mean this is what it's going to be, but just trying to figure out maybe how many attempts we're really looking at for the Jets' second running back in this offense. And I think a good benchmark is roughly 530 rushing attempts. That should be enough for at least top six in the NFL. It could be more. The Eagles were well over 600. I don't know if the Jets get quite that high in 600, but 530 might even be a little bit on the conservative side. So I broke this down into three categories. I had Justin Fields, Breece, Braelon Allen, and the field. So for Justin Fields, I'm thinking somewhere around 136 rushing attempts, which is roughly 8 a game. That's 25.7% of rushes. Breece, somewhere around 204, which is 38.5. I have Braelon Allen at 137, which is 25.8. And then the field, 53 rushes for 10%. The field could be the Jets' third running back, Garrett Wilson on an end around, Malachi Corley, Arian Smith, and maybe that number's a little bit higher, and that's what gets the Jets closer to that 600 number rather than 530. But if we're using the benchmark of 530 rushing attempts as a total, I think you could expect Braelon Allen to be probably between 130 to 150 rushing attempts on the year, which would be a nice increase from where he was a year ago. As a rookie, Allen had 92 rushes for 334 yards. I think those should go up pretty significantly in year two. If you look, his yards per attempt was pretty low at 3.6%. The Jets as a team did not rush the ball very well. Breece Hall's yards per attempt was lower than you would have liked to see. Also, I think that improves with the Jets' improved offensive line. Looking at that unit from left to right, you have Olu Fashanu, John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera-Tucker, and rookie Armand Membu. That projects to be a significantly better offensive line than what the Jets were working with a year ago. So I could totally see where Albert Breer is coming from. For Braelon Allen, if he runs 137 times and, averages 4 to 4.5 yards a carry, somewhere in that range, probably ending with like 600-ish rushing yards plus or minus. and hopefully some more rushing touchdowns too. I think Allen, can be similar to David Montgomery in the sense that they are, both bigger backs. I would think down by the goal line, you get Justin Fields involved, Braelon Allen, and hopefully Breece Hall shows a little bit more pop. So that's kind of where I'm at for what I think the Jets breakdown is going to be rushing wise. So I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think that's a fair projection? Where do you see Braelon Allen in the Jets offense? I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.